From 3.1, I asked you to do this problem here. And I noticed that there was a lot of confusion regarding this problem. Okay? So, with there's two terms like this, 2x squared plus 6x, you've got to factor out a common factor. I saw a lot of people try to expand this into like 2 times x plus 6 times x. That's okay to do that, but then you can't just cross off bits and pieces of this numerator, because this plus sign connects the 2x squared to the 6x. They've got to stay together, unless you can factor something out. So if you factor out a 2x, that leaves x plus 3. And then in the denominator, if it's only one term like this, 10x squared, that's all right if you want to try to multiply it all out like this. The 2's can cancel. One of those x's can cancel. Okay? You're left with x plus 3 over 5x squared. That's the final answer for that one. Okay? It also asks for excluded values. You do not look at the simplified form for excluded values. You look at the first form or the factored form, either one of those. But what number should you not plug in for that x right there? X should not equal 0. That's your excluded value. Now you guys, I like multiple choice tests. I think most students like multiple choice tests, but there are some things you got to be aware of. And this is common for a lot of tests. They'll probably give you 1 or 2 answer choices that has this, but then they're going to switch up the excluded value just to make sure that you're watching carefully. You understand what I'm talking about? So make sure when you circle an answer, you've looked at everything, not just glancing at it and say, yeah, that looks right. Because you might end up circling the wrong thing, and then I can't give you credit for it. Okay? Question 2. I saw a lot better work done, or no, question 3, right? What did I tell you to do? Question 3? I saw a lot better work on this one than on question 1. It started out as x squared plus 6x plus 9 over 5x plus 15. The numerator factors into x plus 3 times another x plus 3. Again, though, in the denominator, some of you, if it has 2 terms, you guys, you factor out a common factor. In this case, a 5. That leaves x plus 3. One of the x plus 3's on the top cancels with the one on the bottom. So you're left with x plus 3 over 5. But then the excluded values, they do not come from the simplified form. Go back a step before you cross things out. What should you not plug into that x? X should not equal negative 3. That's your excluded value. Because if you did plug in a negative 3, and then you added 3, what would you get? 0. 0 times 5 is still 0. You can't divide by 0. That's why negative 3 is excluded. All right, question 5. This one was a little bit trickier, yeah? At least the factoring, maybe? This is something you need to be prepared to be able to do, though, on Monday. So, this one here, the one on top, 2 times negative 12 is negative 24. Now you need 2 factors of negative 24 that add to this negative 5. Turned out to be negative 8 and positive 3. Okay, that adds to negative 5, right? So then you rewrite this quadratic as 2s squared minus 8s plus 3s minus 12. Okay. And then you put parentheses around that. You put parentheses around that. But that's not the end of factoring. Just because you have 2 parentheses doesn't mean you factor. This is called factor by grouping. Okay. What comes out of this first group right here? 2s. And that leaves s minus 4. From this group, you can take out a 3, and that leaves s minus 4. So since you have an s minus 4 and an s minus 4, that becomes one of your parentheses, s minus 4 times 2s plus 3. That's the process for factoring when you have a number in front. So down here, 2 times 4 is 8. We need 2 factors now to add to negative 9. It turns out to be negative 1 and negative 8. That adds to negative 9, and it multiplies to positive 8. So you rewrite 2s squared minus 1s minus 8s minus 12. You put parentheses around that group and parentheses around that group. From the first group, all you can take out is an s. That leaves 2s minus 1. What's the largest number that goes into 8 and 12? So I'm going to take out a negative 4. That leaves 2s, be careful here, plus wait a minute. 12 is supposed to, I was going to say, this is not working. Minus, oh, it's a plus, yeah. That's a plus 4. What the crap was I doing? All right, we all on the same page now? Can we still take out a negative 4? If you take out a negative 4 from plus 4, what are you left with? A minus 1. So since you have a 2s minus 1, that's the same on both sides. That becomes one of your parentheses. The other one is s minus 4. And now those are gone. So final answer is 2s plus 3 over 2s minus 1. But you got to be careful here on the excluded values. You don't take the simplified form. You take this form here before you cross things out. There's two parts to consider here. So from here, s should not equal 4, but then from here, s should not equal 1/2. Okay. And again, if it's not just coming right to you, the excluded value, there's an easy way of figuring it out. You take that factor, 2s minus 1, and you say that can't equal 0. And then you just solve for s. You add 1, 2s should not equal 1, and then what's the next step? Divide by 2. Okay? That's how you find the excluded values. Okay. Now I am recording this. Alright, listen up. I know you might not be all the way done, but we've got to move on. This time's ticking away. I asked you to do question 9. So that was a squared plus 5a plus 4 over a cubed divided by a squared plus 3a plus 2 over a squared minus 2a. Looks like you guys did a pretty good job on this one as I was walking around. You flip this fraction here to its reciprocal and then change this to a multiply sign. And factor everything. So the left fraction factors into x plus 4, or sorry, a plus 4, a plus 1 over a cubed multiplied. Now you flip this fraction to its reciprocal. So this a squared minus 2a actually moves up to the top and you factor out an a. So it's a times a minus 2. And then this a squared plus 3a plus 2 comes down to the bottom as a plus 2 times a plus 1. Now you cross cancel an a plus 1. And one other thing that I think most of you caught, this a times a minus 2, since it's separated by a multiply, you can cross off this a with one of these a's down here. A to the third means there's 3 of them, right? A times a times a. So one of these can cross off with one of those. So your final answer, if you multiply straight across, a plus 4 times a minus 2 all over a times a plus 2. A squared, yeah. A squared times a plus 2.
But again, you guys, I need your eyes up here for a second. I'm only leaving it in this form because that's how your homework wants it. On the test, if all your answer choices have been multiplied together, like a squared plus 2a minus 8 over a to the third plus 2a, that's how they're going to want you to do it. So just look at your answer choices to see how far they want it. Okay?
What's that? Did you have a question on this one?
No.
If you have a question, you need to ask. Okay. I asked you to do this one too then. 11. C plus 4 over c squared plus 5c plus 6 divided by guys need to refocus here. If you don't want to learn, fine, but if you're talking, people around you can't learn. So zip it. Okay? All this is a division problem. This long division bar, you can write that as a division sign. C plus 4 over C squared plus 5C plus 6 divided by 3C squared plus 12C. That's all this means right here. And then you solve this just like you did the last problem. You flip this fraction to its reciprocal and multiply. Okay? So C plus 4 over C plus 2 times C plus 3 multiplied. Now this 3C squared plus 12C, that moves down to the bottom, and you factor out a 3C, and that leaves C plus 4. Yeah? And then this one right here, the 2C squared plus 5C minus 3, that moves up to the top and factors into 2C minus 1 times C plus 3. Okay? Now, you guys, this right here, the way that you have to factor this is 2 times negative 3. That equals negative 6. Now you need two numbers that multiply to negative 6 that add to 5. It's 6 and negative 1. Then you split this up. Right, it's 2C squared plus 6C minus 1C minus 3. Then you factor by grouping. That's that whole process. Here you take out a 2C. That leaves you with C plus 3. Here you take out a negative 1. That leaves you with C plus 3. So then that's why there's a 2C minus 1 and a C plus 3. Now you cross cancel a C plus 3 and a C plus 4. So your answer is 2C minus 1 over C plus 2 times 3C. Okay. Now, you guys listen very carefully. Listen. I don't think we really need to review the adding and subtracting because we just did it on a quiz. Are we on? We're good on adding and subtracting. But there is one thing you need to realize. The test on Monday, it's going to be actually 4 pages. Okay? Page 1 is like the first couple of problems we did, simplifying. Page 2 is going to be multiplying and dividing like this stuff. Page 3 is going to be adding and subtracting. Page 4 is going to be some review problems from the last 2 units. Okay? It's not going to count as part of the TMU. It is going to count as part of the test, but not part of the T. You understand what I'm saying? So if you fail that last page, it's not going to cause you to fail the TMU. It'll lower your grade quite a bit. So, for example, here's what I'm talking about. A review question like this. Let's just go over this real quick before the bell rings. You're going to want to know how to do this. You already should know how to do it. Back from chapter 2, for example. Please tell me this problem would look familiar to you, because it was only like a week and a half ago. Does this problem look familiar? Okay, you guys, bells and run. I know you're putting stuff away. Class isn't over yet. We're still going. Okay? We got to solve this problem. So let's do it. Plug it into your calculator. Don't just tell yourself, yeah, I can do that problem, because maybe you can't. Maybe you forgot. So type it in your calculator. So, what's your calculator telling you? Which are there 1, 2 numbers? How many numbers are you seeing? What are they? 3 and negative 3? Okay. Now what? Synthetic division. Choose one of them. I'm going to do the negative 3. Do the synthetic division. Okay. And it's not so much to prove that you get a remainder of 0. We know we're going to get a remainder of 0. The point is to find out what these numbers here are. We got a remainder of 0. So what this means right here is x to the third minus 2x squared minus x minus 6. Yeah. Okay, I will in just a second. Okay, guys, come on. Focus, focus, focus. What do we do next? We can't use quadratic formula on this. This is not quadratic. This is cubic. You do the. We already proved negative 3. Now we use. Yep. Now we use 3 and synthetically divide again. On 1, negative 2, negative 1, negative 6. Okay. Drop down the 1. Do the synthetic division. So now this is x squared plus x plus 2. Now you can do quadratic formula, because this is a quadratic. X equals the opposite of b, plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c, all over 2a.
So what do we get underneath? 1 minus, underneath the square root, what do we get? 1 minus what? 1 minus 1 minus 8?
1 minus 8 is? So x equals negative 1 plus or minus the square root of negative 7. Then you take out an I.
That'd actually be okay if you just left it like that. 7 doesn't simplify. There's nothing that multiplies to 7 out of 1. That's as far as that one goes. How many zeros were we supposed to find anyway? 4 zeros, right? Because it was x to the 4th. Did we find 4 zeros? This counts as 2 of them. And then we had 3 and negative 3 from the graph. So that's not the only review question you're going to have on a test. It's one of them. I'd go back and take a look at some of your notes if I were you.